Hi, welcome to the Russ and Vince Courtside Podcast. I'm your host, Vince. Before we go into the video, please hit that like and subscribe button down below if you enjoy our videos. Let's get right into it.
What's good, everybody? It is your host, Vince here, Courtside Podcast with my boy Russ here. How we doing, my guy?
Doing good, man. It's another night with beautiful basketball to watch, and we got ourselves some series, man. Ain't no home team winning today.
No, for sure, man. That has definitely been the theme for the second round so far. We have yet to see a home team come out with a win. So far, man, in terms of the Celtics Knicks series, has definitely been very exciting to say the least. If you didn't get a chance to catch the game ended up going to overtime, and the Knicks ended up stunning the Boston Celtics on their own home court to take game one and to take home court advantage over the Celtics. Crazy. Real quick, man, let's just go right into this one. What did we learn so much or so far from game one, Celtics versus Knicks? What did you take from that?
I took it as a choke job from the Celtics, man. 20-point lead, man, choked it up, and then overtime happened, and they lost it, man. Well, really, it's just Boston shot 15 for 60 from beyond the arc, setting a playoff record for most missed threes in a single game, which is just goes to show you the reliance on the perimeter shooting backfired. You know what they say about the teams who shoot a lot of threes and are good at it? You live and die by the three. If you aren't making them, you're usually losing the game. If you're making them, you're usually winning the game by a pretty good chunk. Um, the fourth quarter collapse is just really kind of what ended it. I mean, Celtics scored just literally 11 points in the final 17 minutes. And then the Knicks ended up going on a 31-11 run to erase that lead. So it came down to the end. And my things here are still kind of similar about Jaylen Brown. I don't know why he just doesn't seem like he's really impacting the game for me. It's like it's just not the eye test isn't showing it to me. I'm telling you, man, them braids, and I'm gonna keep preaching this. Them braids, them dreads, man, took this as soon as he cut them off, man. He took his swag away. It's like I don't know. It's like Jaylen Brown had gone away, and now they recloned him as this person, and they did it wrong because I'm not seeing it, or I don't know, man. Someone's with the Celtics this round, but and maybe I'm just being a Celtics hater. Sorry, Kenzie, I love you, but yeah, and Jason Tatum's disappearance, also scoring only 2 points in the fourth quarter. You can't do that. Literally missing 7 of his shot attempts. I mean, Jason Tatum, he's one of those guys where he's really good, but for some reason in the clutch, I just can't seem to find him. But I don't know. What are you seeing, Vince?
Yeah, man, you bring up some very valid points. I, I'll just put it to you this way. Obviously, first quarter, we were in for a treat. Boston only had a 1 point lead over the Knicks, 26-25, right? Then the second quarter happened, and Boston did what I think we all were accustomed to Boston doing to this New York team this season, all over the regular season, especially when they went 4-0. They put 35 on them and held them to 20, right? So we're looking at a 16-point lead in this case going into the half. Not only that, but like you said, at one point to start the third quarter, they got up as much as 20 points. So you're kind of thinking at some moment, that's the series. That's the most predictable series that we all thought. We thought Celtics might sweep the Knicks because they did it in the regular season. We thought Celtics might gentlemen sweep the Knicks or it might not be competitive. Well, I'm going to tell you what exactly happened that I learned from this game. I learned that Joe Mazzulla, as their coach, has in some ways ruined basketball. What I mean by that is the privilege and the empowerment that he has allowed this Celtics team to constantly jack up threes as if it's just a normal thing that you should just do makes absolute no sense. One could argue this is a game that yes, the Knicks won, but really the Celtics lost. Because when you go up 20 and you have that not just the game on your in your hands, but you have that mental game on your hands up to this point where you literally are beating the Knicks for pretty much 4 games and a half at this point, and you have the opportunity to take game 1 in Boston, and you just kind of choke it like you said. Well, let's look at how they choked. Basically, the whole entire second half, majority, if not 80, 85% of the shots that they took in the second half were 3-point attempts. You're not going to win many games when, as a team, you're taking 63s, which is way more than half of the overall attempts and shots that you guys took, and you only managed to make 15. Now, one could say also, how often does that happen? This team all season has been a flamethrower from three. I'm pretty sure, had the best 3-point percentage. They made the most threes multiple times. They've broken their own franchise record in terms of most threes made in a game. They even had a couple games this regular season where some of their key players like Peyton Pritchard as well as uh, Derek White were able to go for 40 points. And during the time they both scored 40 points, they both scored like 9 threes each, just a piece. So we know they're capable of making threes, but you got to understand situational basketball. At some point in time, what's wrong with taking your butt to the hole? What's wrong with getting a mid-range shot if that's the right shot? What's wrong with getting the swing and passing the ball around more efficiently? And again, like we talked about, instead of settling for the good shot or the decent shot, swing the ball, move the ball around enough, get some cuts, and get a great shot out of it, which might be at the paint. What I don't like about this game from the Celtics perspective, they only had 18 assists. You're not going to do really much with 18 assists. And again, the 3 points percentage, I mean, really, that tells the whole story for the most part. But what I definitely loved from the Knicks perspective on this one, Russ, I love the fact that despite them going 4-0 to the Celtics in the regular season, despite hearing all the media chatter and talking about how we're going to get swept, we're going to get gentlemen swept, it would be the best thing that we can do to, capsulize the 2024-2025 season is at least try to get to a game 6. If we can get to a game 6 and lose, then hey, that's still a successful season. The Knicks said, I want no parts of that. I'm really going to stand on business. We're trying to get this game 1 in Boston. And in a previous video, I even said, if the Knicks go in and win game 1, expect them possibly to not win game 2, because you have to put respect on the defending champs to at least make the proper adjustments. But I wouldn't, pass it for the Knicks to go back to New York in game 3 and try to get that real home court advantage. Knicks haven't been the best at home this season, but I have faith in them. And yeah, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm very objective. I love what I'm seeing from this Knicks team. They have that grit and grind. They play a certain style of play that I really think represents New York. And I know that, Mikal Bridges was hating a lot during the regular season about the amount of hours that Tibbs was having to play. But I don't think he's hating right now. He played the most minutes overall in this game. He played 51 minutes. And although the stat sheet doesn't look the best, this is definitely one of those games where you just had to see it. You had to watch it. Mikal Bridges really, in the clutch moments, in the clutch time on the defensive end specifically and primarily, he was amazing. But again, man, I'm really proud to see what the Knicks did. You get a great contribution from OG, 29 points. You get a great contribution from, of course, Jalen Brunson, especially when you needed him the most in the fourth quarter. Had some very timely buckets. And then, of course, Josh Hart doing what he does. I wasn't super surprised. I wanted the Knicks to really show up and show out, and they did. But outside of that, you guys, what I want to go into next here, this is a question I want to ask you. Do you think what's more possible? Do you think it's more possible for the Celtics to still get a gentleman sweep in 5 games, or do you think it's more possible at this point for the Knicks to win in 7?
I think the Celtics love to play with their food. And if you know anything about the Celtics, and before I met my fiance back in 2020, I'd have told you I don't know shit about the Celtics. But the Celtics have not been good at home in the playoffs. They at home for some reason it's like something happens and they just don't play as well. I mean, I've been to the Boston TD Garden for a Lakers Celtics game, and I wore this jersey right here. And
I'm so
I'm not
jealous.
gonna. That Lakers Celtics game was amazing. It was the one where Patrick Beverley took the video camera and showed it to the ref, and LeBron had that iconic meltdown that would probably be in some haters like documentary. But
That's a
that
legendary
that
moment right
arena,
there.
for real, I watched that in person. I have videos on my phone of that meltdown, and I literally heard the slap on LeBron's arm from Jason Tatum. I could hear it, and I have it on video. It was right in front of me on that side of the court. That's what was the crazier part. Anyways, I think what's more possible is Celtics in 5, just because we've seen this before. Celtics aren't the best at home, but they kind of sometimes get a little bit, it takes time for them sometimes to get picked up and started in a series. But I truly feel like it's more possible that the Celtics in 5 versus Knicks in 7.
That's
But
fair.
I'll tell you what, man. Jalen Brunson, man, he deserved that Clutch Player of the Year award. He be clutch, man. When you need a bucket, he be getting you one.
Oh yeah, and you definitely make a good point. I mean, the Celtics definitely. I don't know what it is. They just for some reason underperform on their home court, especially in Game 1. Because I'm pretty sure they lost, if I'm not mistaken, Game 1 or maybe it was Game 2 against the Magic, literally in the first round matchup. Um, or I could be wrong. I don't know, to be honest with you. Didn't pay too much attention because I already knew the Celtics were gonna, win in 5 or at least sweep them or something like that. But it is definitely something to think about. I don't know. I want to put more respect on the Knicks. I know that, like I said, a lot of people are discounting the Knicks, but you know what? I think this might be the series that the Knicks actually surprise. I think that the Knicks, they, I don't want to say they figured something out because it's kind of hard to say that. Um, but at the same time, I think that it's one of those situations where the Knicks probably, I don't know. I think it's one of those situations where the Knicks actually do really look at the tape to see what they did in order to get this win and then try to duplicate it until the proper adjustments come up to the point where now they got to readjust to those adjustments. But just kind of going off to the next question here. Do you think that the Celtics can go all the way playing this style? And what I mean by that is, again, the beg my pardon, Joe Mazzulla style of play, where he encourages his players to chuck up threes all the dang time. Now, I know that you guys won the championship last year in some ways with this formula, but at the same time, you got to understand that sometimes it's a make or miss league. And in games like this, obviously you're going to miss, and some games you're going to make them. It's a gamble. But I want to know, do you think this is a formula that the Celtics can really ride out and still win a championship and go back to back this year?
Yeah, I do. Can they lose? Of course, they can lose. But it's hard to look at any player on the Celtics and think, like, who's off the top of your head, who do you think is the worst 3-point shooter out of their like rotation? Like, I guess, or even maybe like top 5 without really kind of looking at it on an average basis. Hard to think about because you're like, they all can shoot threes.
I was
Derek
literally
White,
this close to looking.
Derek White, man, him alone this season had the most 3-pointers in Celtics history. Think about that, brother. Think about that. Derek White. We I think Celtics fans will remember who Derek White is for damn sure. But I know I ain't gonna remember. I mean, okay, I'll remember, but Joe Schmo, who just became an NBA fan 10 years later from now, or after Derek White maybe retires. I don't know when that's gonna be, but I don't know if he's gonna know who Derek White is. but he's going to be a Celtics legend because this man has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the same team as him. And he got the most threes in the Celtics history. That's just mind-blowing to me. It wasn't something I would have been like, yeah, he'd be the one who'd be shooting the threes the most and making them. And I mean, Kristaps Porzingis is a great three-point shooter. Jaylen Brown's a great three-point shooter. Derek White, Drew Holiday. We got Al Horford. Believe it or not, he's a great three-point shooter. And Peyton Pritchard, he's a flamethrower off the bench, bro. Bro can score buckets. That man, he'd be nice. He could be a starter on some teams. And I don't even know if that would be a hot take or not, but he could be a starter on some of these NBA teams for how good his shooting is. You got to watch this kid. This kid scored 60 in I want to say the Drew League maybe, but or maybe it was G League or something like that, or Summer League. But this man, I'm telling you, he be buckets. The Celtics can go all the way playing this style. The difference though is can they hit him? They did it, but can they continue to hit him? So they can win it this stuff because that's been their formula. But will they?
Yeah, I mean, look, I know I made a stank face at that take about Peyton Pritchard being a starter on just about every team, and it's no
No,
shade at all
not on
to
just
Mr.
about every
Pritchard.
team. He could be a starter on some, like
Okay,
maybe
okay. I was
bottom
about to
five of
say,
the
let's pump the
league.
brakes. Look, I'm from
Bottom
Oregon.
five.
Shout out to Payne Pritchard and our Oregon ties, man. Go Ducks. But I'm telling you right now, ain't no way in hell he is starting for the Lakers. He is not starting for the Knicks. Like he is in a very privileged
No.
situation with the Celtics where he has a defined role and he has mastered that role. He's a bucket getter, but he is still very small in size. It's very difficult to be a starting point guard in this league. Shout out to Fred Van Vliet, who's very small, but has really made a great career out of it. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. Shout out to Chris Paul. I can keep going on, but the list is not really that big. So, but I
Isaiah
definitely
Thomas
it's
was a starter
exactly.
on this Celtics team, and
But
he
they didn't
was,
go
I think,
far,
the same
and he had a
height.
lot of injury issues as well. But,
But that's
just to
not the
kind of
point. He was a starter though, and they were in the playoffs. And Isaiah Thomas's sister died in a car accident. R.I.P. to his sister, and he played that very next day in the playoffs, man. And what's up, Kitty
yes.
Cat?
Yes,
What's up,
he's trying
Mabel?
to tell me it's time to go to bed. But nah, man, I feel you. Here's something I want to bring up just real quick as we're kind of going through everything. Um, Now, if you notice the stat sheet here, something that kind of, if you didn't watch the game, might be news to you. Kristaps only played, buddy. Oh my goodness. Kristaps only played 13 minutes in this game. He went 0 for 4 from the field. And it seems that he's still kind of dealing with some sickness or illness. I'm not really entirely sure what the full report was, but obviously last season in the postseason, they, really went on their run without Porzingis and they still managed to win the championship. What I want to know is, do you think that this is one of those situations once again where the Celtics can't go far without Porzingis, or is this a situation where they might be in trouble because Porzingis' availability is constantly being in question? What's your take on that?
Well, this is really funny because the Knicks really would have wished that Porzingis played like this on their team. And it's funny because the Celtics are playing the Knicks. So kind of a funny here situation. But I think that Porzingis injury is always a concern. If you say it's not a concern, you haven't watched Porzingis. If you don't know, his nickname is the Unicorn. I honestly didn't understand why he had that. I get he was tall, but was it because at the time he came in the league, like being a big and shooting threes wasn't exactly normal, I guess, as much as you'd see, I guess, maybe today when a lot of centers have even transitioned Shout out to Brooke Lopez for getting that 3-point shot, man. But now it seems more normal. But I feel like they've kind of gone away from the name unicorn for Porzingis because it's like he's not really rare anymore. He's actually just normal. I mean, he's not normal, but he's not the needle in the haystack anymore. But at the same time, the injury issues has definitely dampened his career over the years. But yeah, it's a concern. But at the same time, it's only time will tell. I mean, same here. I mean, he's still played.
Yeah, no, yeah. And
But I
just to go
believe in the
off your
Celtics
point.
though. Celtics is good.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how much it pains me as a Lakers fan to have to admit how good the Celtics are. Please, Lakers, if you ever watch this, get it together. Because we don't want to have to keep doing videos about of all the teams Celtics making these deep runs and winning championships. Get it together. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Now, real quick here, what I want to kind of go over here with you, real quick, Russ, and I want to kind of take this lead real quick, and then I'll get your opinion. We'll tie things up here in a second. Um, if the Knicks manage to find a way to actually get past the Celtics, how far do we think they can go? Now, obviously, if they get past the Celtics, they're going to be playing the winner against either the Cleveland Cavaliers or against the Indiana Pacers. Right now, as we are recording, the Indiana Pacers are up 2-0 against the Cavs, and they did this while beating them on their own home court, meaning that they got 2 road wins, and now they're coming back to Indiana looking to hopefully either sweep them or at least get one game and force this to be a 3-1 situation where the odds are definitely in their favor. Me personally, I think that because of the way this Knicks team is constantly constructed, it seems like, since Tom Thibodeau has been the coach, I just don't think that they are positioned truly to be able to have a sustainable long-term run because they're constantly putting so much pressure and minutes on their starting cast. What happens if at some point in these playoffs, because of the amount of minutes that they're logging on, suddenly an injury happens? And injuries are one of the worst things that we don't like to talk about, but they do happen. And they're one injury, 2 injuries away from going home, even just in this series alone. But I just think that even if, say, their cast is good and they are healthy, I just think maybe it's just me at this point. I really believe in the Pacers. The Pacers, I feel like, are very heavily slept on because they're a small market team and because everybody has so much respect for Boston and the East has been known for being so weak that you almost just kind of overlook a team like the Pacers, but not me. I'm putting respect on them right here, right now. They had 50 wins this regular season. They had their own fair share of injuries, but now they're finally fully healthy for the most part. I do know that Tyrese is dealing with a nagging wrist or hand injury of some sort, but I don't think that's much of a concern considering he literally just hit a game-winning 3 for game 2 to go up 2-0. I also love the fact that they have size, right? They have Pascal Siakam, they have Miles Turner, and they also have been having really good positional play from their other key players like Andrew Nimhart, as well as I can't remember his name. Their other plays is basically what I'm trying to put. And
Miles
I
Turner.
just think that the Pacers, yeah, Benedict Mathurin. Sorry, it's a mouthful for me to say that for some reason, but yes, Mathurin.
Oh
And I just
yeah,
think that the
yeah.
Pacers, yeah, I just think that the Pacers, they have really the tools to honestly go to the finals. And I would love to see something like that. We've talked a lot, or we've heard a lot about how we love to see a small market, finals. It may not be the sexiest, but it is something we love to see, like the Cavs against the Thunder. Well, I don't know if the Thunder are going to be coming out of their series. I definitely, at this point, don't think the Cavs are coming out of their series. So to me, I just think for New York, because of their style of play, how they play, and the amount of energy it takes just for them to go through this gauntlet that they're going through, having to play against the Detroit Pistons in round one, being tested that way, going to game 6, and now you're playing against the Celtics. I just think that the road to prosperity is so much difficult so much more difficult for the Knicks compared to say the Pacers, who really they just been doing what they're doing. The Bucks, gentleman sweep, and now you got the Cavs on the ropes 2-0. Shoot, if they manage to gentleman sweep the Cavs, especially with the Cavs and dealing with all of their injuries, who's to say that the Pacers can't go far? So to me, I just don't think that the Knicks. I don't think this is the year for the Knicks. I think that the Knicks maybe need an extra year. I think they need to clearly beef up their bench to the point where you're going to have to force Tibbs to have to play some of their other bench players. And because Robinson, although he's a great rebounder and perimeter defender or paint defender, um, he's too easily being able to be taken out of the game because of his lack of ability to shoot and make free throws. So, not to mention, Karl Anthony Towns, love the guy, but he's so inconsistent, man. It's just like you don't know what you're getting with him. One moment you just expect to see great play from him. Uh, he can get you 20 and 10, 25 and 10, shoot, maybe even 35 and 15 some games. And then other games, it's just like he's a no-show. Like literally, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, we're looking at the stat sheet here. He had 14 points and 13 rebounds, but he had 5 personal fouls. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that the Celtics and their game plan was so stupid. I'm just going to be honest. It was so dumb. In my opinion, if you have Karl Anthony Towns with 5 fouls, you better get Karl Anthony Towns in some action. Get him moving around, pick and rolls, pick and pop, drive into the bucket, force him to have to contest. If it's not a contest, he's going to get out the way, and you got yourself an easier bucket than just chucking up threes the whole time. So for me, again, I just think the Knicks are they're too inconsistent, with some of their key players that they have. And I just think that they're probably a year or two away. Maybe even the offseason, they might pick up somebody like a big name player who's circling around in the rumor mill right now, Giannis. And you never know. That might be something that they look into in the offseason. But that's just my take on that. What's your take, real quick? And then we'll kind of wrap this up with the last question here. Nope. Can you hear me?
My take
Oh,
if the
you're
Knicks
muted.
can get Bill.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. What's your take? What's your take on this? If the Knicks are able to get past on the Celtics, how far do you think they can go?
You put some really good points out there that the Pacers, they have really been able to show and prove to everybody that Tyrese ain't overrated. That's going to be a good matchup if it's the Knicks and the Pacers. But the Pacers, man, they really just got this edge to them. But then I think about it, I'm like, man, the Knicks do too. I mean, Mikal Bridges, he's an Iron Man. You can guarantee that man's going to play. Gosh, if the Knicks get past the Celtics, I think that there's a potential that they could make the finals, but I don't see them winning the finals. That's my take, because the West is way too strong, and only team I really could see making it past, making it, like, winning the NBA championship and beating a team out West would really be the Celtics. That's Pacers would throw a good chance, to be able to put up a good fight in the finals, but the West teams are just too strong. The only team is the Celtics. I really think they could really get past anybody, because obviously they've already shown it, and they're the defending champions. So you got to give them the respect. So that's where I'm going to put it here. I don't really have much to say about the Knicks, but good team, good story. Jalen Brunson's clutch. Mikal Bridges plays. Karl Anthony Towns, feel like he's that player. He's good, but he just doesn't have that it to him. He'd be zesty.
Yo. Hey, man. I don't even know what to say after that. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with this last one. Then we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna end on that note. All right, man. What do you got in terms of predictions? How many games do you think it is? Who do you think is gonna be winning the outcome? What you got, real quick?
Oh man, the connection is so horrible. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but
Can you hear me?
I don't know, man. Yeah, I can hear you, but the not looking so good.
No,
But
that's good.
the service was
Well,
cutting in
well,
and out, and I think you're still cutting in and out.
nah, you're good, man. You're good. Well, hey, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
throw out my prediction so far, at least. In terms of who I think is gonna be winning this series, and say what you want to say. Yes, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm gonna be as non-biased as I can with all these takes for all these teams, right? I just love to see the game, just as I love to play the game. I think we are in for a bigger treat than I think that we're being led off to. I think that the Knicks are actually going to find a way to come up out on top against the Celtics. I think the Knicks are actually going to win. If I have to choose between 6 or 7 games, I'm going to say that they're going to have to win in 6. I don't know if the Knicks have the capability of beating Boston in Boston again. So, what really needs to happen is they're going to have to get these games back home for game 3 and 4. If you do happen to lose game 5 or as well as game 2, so be it. But as long as you at least get game 3 and game 4 on your home court, and then you win in game 6 in New York, what a story to be told. Not to mention, just to throw out this fact, I believe it was the past 5 or 7 years now, a championship team has not even made it past the second round. So if the Celtics do get past the Knicks, that's going to be the first time in the past 5 or 7 years now. So I don't think that's just a coincidence, man. And we've seen some really good teams in the last 5 or 7 years now. I just think that this might be the year that the Knicks might actually be able to, you know, say no to the Boston Tea Party and go out and go banging, man. But that's my take. I got Knicks and 6. What's your take, real quick? Who you got?
Knicks and 6. I did see that where a defending team hasn't been able to make it past the second round since 2019. Very, very interesting take there because it's interesting. I would say Celtics in 6. Knicks are going to be a little bit tougher. I wanted to say Celtics in 5, but it's it's going to be a good fought battle, and depending on how the injuries go, because I mean, you got Drew Holiday who's missing some games, you got Kristaps Porzingis with some illness, you got Jalen Brown with the lingering knee issue, Jason Tatum with the wrist issue. I mean, we'll see, but I feel like they got the grit and the grind to make it through. So Celtics in 6. But
All right.
we're gonna end it there. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, supporting us, always following us, like and subscribe down below. And if you guys have any feedback, feel free to comment in the comment section. And we like to try to comment and reply to people and just show them, hey, we're engaged with our fans, and we just love to
Yep. So, Russ, real
you know
quick, my guy, you are cutting out here, but
feel
just to kind of piggyback off what he's saying, just the gist of it, you guys, we
supported
greatly appreciate your
by
your your support and everything.
you guys because you're truly the ones who are able to give us this voice. So much.
Yes, yes. Sorry. Yeah. So sorry for the technical difficulties there, you guys, towards the end. But just like Russ said, man, we greatly appreciate your time. We greatly appreciate your effort to go and check these videos. If you do enjoy, feel free to share with your friends, especially those that are, really big NBA fans. If their teams are still playing and they like to, actually watch channels that are covering their team, knowing that ESPN, a lot of these other platforms typically like to talk about only a few of these teams. So if they do like the content, feel free to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, your opinions. We always want to hear those as well. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn your notifications on so anytime a video is posted, you got the first inside scoops on everything. But that's going to conclude the video. You guys stay safe. Take care. Till next time.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Russ and Vince Courtside Podcast, where we bring you the hottest NBA moments, discussions, and everything in between. If you like today's show, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a Courtside Podcast again.